Hey everyone, Kyle here. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain a little bit. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.fm. They'll have everything you need all in one place. I can speak from my experience. It's been awesome so far and super easy. So go check it out, guys, and we'll see you later. All right, welcome everyone. This is Our Travel Experiences. I'm Kyle Rasmussen, and today, all the way from Florence, Italy, I have Martina. Martina, how are you?
Hi, hello everyone. I'm great. Thanks for inviting me. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah, thanks for doing this. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to
Of
chat with the
course.
listeners here.
Of course, I'm very happy to do it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, first, I thought it'd be best if you just gave the listeners, a little bit of background of yourself and how you got into your role as a tour guide.
Sure. So, if I have to be 100% honest, this was supposed to be my plan B
Okay.
because I graduated in international relationship and Asian studies. So my original idea was to work for some international organizations. And
Hmm.
then at the same time, while I was studying in college, I also took the course to become a tour guide because in Italy we have to follow 1 year of classes about art, history, architecture, everything related to the job, and then we have to pass a very big exam. I did it,
Wow.
but I wasn't sure that I was going to use it. But right after college, I spent 1 semester in China. And then I just wanted to work. And I thought that working as a guide could have been my first working experience. And then I
Hmm.
ended up doing it for 8 years. I never
Oh,
stopped
wow.
because I loved it.
That's amazing. So,
Yeah. So
how did it start? Did you start with some sort of company, or were you on your own?
In Italy, we work as freelancers. So we are free to work for ourselves and for companies. I moved to Florence right after my semester in China because that's where I took the course. And when I did
Hmm.
it, we were just local guides. So we were supposed to work just in the city where we took the exam. And I picked Florence because I liked it already, even if I
Yeah.
am originally from Naples, the south of Italy.
Okay.
After that semester, I came back to Florence trying to see if I could start working. And since I was one of the few Italian guys speaking Chinese,
Mm.
the company, one company called me after 3 days after I took the license also in Chinese language because we have to do the exam in all the languages that we want to use to work. So
Hmm.
that was just something that happened without me expecting it. And after a few months, I started to work for other companies, and now I basically work for myself. So the companies helped me to start to let
Hmm.
people get to know me, and then I started to build my business on my terms and on my own.
Wow, very cool. So it sounds like a really intense process to actually become a tour guide in Italy.
That's true. I mean, it happens to me very often that many of my guests ask me a question, which is, um, do you do other jobs? And I look at them and I say, no, I couldn't. Like, this is taking all of my energy, even if it can be considered a seasonal job because most of the tourists come here in spring or summertime. In
Hmm.
wintertime, I plan things, I prepare new itineraries, I travel around the region, around Tuscany region to see if I can find something new to show to my guests when they get here, something original. So there's still work to do even when I don't guide, and it's all the work that
Hmm.
I do in order to be prepared for the season. So I don't think I could do something else.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds like a full-time job for sure.
Yes, it is.
It sounds like you speak a couple different languages. How many languages do you speak?
So I speak English and Chinese mainly, and these are the languages that I used to work as a guide.
Okay.
But I also studied German in high school and university. The problem is that I did not take the exam in German language to work as a guide, so I've never
Mm.
really used it to work. And I don't really know what's left in my
Yeah.
brain. So I can't really say that I speak German now. I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah, you got enough to remember there.
Yes, then Chinese is taking all of my energy.
Yeah, that's a hard language to learn.
Yes, it is very hard.
So, on a typical day, how many tours do you give?
Max 2 tours per day. Then there are
Okay.
some few occasions where I can do 3 tours, but only if the tours that I do are very short. But usually
Mhm.
tours last 2 hours. So after 2 tours, I don't think you can do the third one. So I prefer
Yeah.
to do max two so that I can be at my best. Otherwise, I will be also too tired, and I don't like
Mhm.
to be that tired when I guide people because I want to give them as much as I can. So I think two is the maximum.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I know, I'm sure talking that long and leading people around for that long can get really tiring.
Yeah, also because, guests are always different. So it depends from the type of tour you're doing. When, like the tour that I did today, you have kids, then you need
Mhm.
much more energy. So maybe even after one tour, you are very tired.
Yeah.
And there are other occasions where I do very, very simple tour like the food and wine tours, which are very relaxing also for me. So I can have more energy to do other 2 tours after that.
Yeah, there you go. That's a fun way to do tours.
It is. That I like it too so
Yeah.
much.
Um, so do you just do tours inside the city of Florence, or do you have tours that go outside?
No, I live in the countryside. So I live in an area called Chianti region that is very famous for the
Okay.
production of wine. So that's one of the reasons why I specialize also in food and wine tours, because living
Mhm.
here, I had the chance to go visit many wineries and farmhouses around, and I really like to show also this part of the region to my guests. So not only
Mhm.
museums and foreign city tours, but also countryside tours to focus on the wine and food products of the area, but also to visit some little tiny small medieval towns that not many people know, but I think are very awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, I know when I was there, I really enjoyed, well, one, your tour, of course, around the
Uh,
city of Florence. But then getting out into the countryside, I know we went to San Gimignano
yes,
and
yes.
a few other small towns that I can't
You went
remember.
to Certaldo, right? You went
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Certaldo. This is one of my favorite places in the countryside of Tuscany. I really love that place.
yeah, it's so beautiful. I mean, the whole
Yes,
area is just
yeah,
I can see why so much amazing art has come from that area.
yes, yes. True, true.
Um, so with the food and wine tours, what I guess what food or wine do you recommend to the guests?
It really depends from what you are looking for. So when someone contacts me, I always like to ask what their expectations are. If they're looking for big wineries, like big names that are known all over the world, or if they prefer to find local small wineries just to
Hmm.
understand a bit better about the wine production and taste some of their local products. So I always like to start from that. And then I pick the winery or the farmhouse according to what my guests say.
Hmm.
The big names, pretty much everyone knows them. So I always try to kind of sponsor the small wineries because I think it's very important to support also local business. And also because this is a very important thing. In order to taste very good wine in Italy, you don't have to pay that much money. You can have very good wine for 10, 15 euros. So
Hmm.
I think it's always important to remember that not always paying that much money means having good quality, high quality. So I think this is also important when I try to arrange my tours.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a good thing to know. So it sounds like you kind of customize your tours depending on what the guests want.
Yes, definitely. This is one of the first thing that I say when people contact me because no tours can be standard. We are all different people. We all want to see
Hmm.
different things. We want to experience different things. So maybe I can give you an idea. Maybe I can tell you what the most famous things are because maybe it's your first time in Florence and you can't miss the Michelangelo's David or the Botticelli's painting in the Uffizi Gallery. But maybe you have been here 3 or 4 times and you love the city and you just want to see something hidden, something not that famous. So I think it's
Hmm.
very important to talk to the people and ask what they're looking for. And this is something that I learned traveling myself. And
Hmm.
I know that when I travel, I always want to find things that are different. So I try to give the
Yeah.
same to my guests.
Yeah, very cool. So how you said you've been a tour guide for 8 years, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. How have you grown over those years and what have you learned um over that time?
This is a very, very interesting question. I like it. I mean, there are so many things I'd like to say, but I think the thing that really helps me now is the confidence. Because when I
Hmm.
started, I was 24 years old, so I was much younger. And sometimes it was also scary for me to interact with people. I was afraid
Hmm.
to do something wrong or to not to fulfill their expectations. But then later on, you understand that people want to enjoy their time in the city that they're visiting. And of
Hmm.
course, you need to have all the information. You are a guide, so it's important to give the exact information and the exact stories. But at the same time, I understood that we are not in school. So basically, people don't want to hear stuff that they might find on internet or that they can
Hmm.
read on books or that they can see on documentaries. They want to see, they want to hear stories. So
Yeah.
that gave me the confidence of being much more myself and focus less on giving all the details about everything. So I
Hmm.
think this is the most important thing that I can say I have learned in these 8 years.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. I know I really enjoyed a lot of the stories that you told us when
Yeah,
I took the tour. I won't
same.
spoil it for people that are traveling to Florence. But there's a lot of amazing stories that I probably wouldn't have ever heard about otherwise.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. Combine the history, so the important information, with some fun facts and legends. Because after the tour, you will not remember the dates. Maybe you
Yeah.
remember the period of time, but you will never remember the dates. So what's
Hmm.
the point of giving you all those information? I think the story will stick in your memory for longer time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially when you travel a lot and you're getting a lot of dates thrown at you.
True.
it
Like,
it all tumbles together.
yeah, because people see many places at the same time, especially if they're coming from far away. So Rome,
Hmm.
Florence, Venice in the same trip. So many information.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I will say on the confidence piece, that's something that I honestly really noticed when I took your tour. Was it just seemed like you were very confident. You knew what you were talking about. You knew, where we were going and everything. I felt really, really comfortable, and I trusted everything that you were saying, which isn't
Yeah.
always the case with tour guides.
Thank you. This is something that makes me very happy because when I've started to work as a guide, what I've always wanted to do was to make people feel kind of safe in my
Hmm.
hands and to trust me that everything we're gonna do together is real, is authentic. I don't like fake stuff. No one
Yeah.
likes fake stuff when we travel, and this is something that we are always afraid of, to find someone that is just pretending to give us a good service, but then at the end it's not, or that they force
Hmm.
us, they try to kind of impose us something, uh,
Yeah.
or even buy some stuff that we think is good quality, but then it's not. Never
Hmm.
give the guests something that you would never buy or do. So this is what I always do when I do my tours. Try to give them what you want to look, what you want to find when you travel. I think this is the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I know for me, I want to I want to kind of live like a local. I mean, obviously, I want to learn the history and everything, but I want to do more of the local type things. I don't want to just be, another tourist. And so it's fun to get, what
Yeah,
you who lives there, what you would do and see.
yeah, sure. I mean, I always like to be honest because I always say Florence is touristy. So, of course,
Hmm.
there are tourists. And of course, there are some things that mainly tourists do. But if you're
Yeah.
honest and you say the truth, people will believe you and people will understand that what you're saying is true and they will trust you. So, this is very important to me.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. What's your favorite and least favorite part about being a tour guide?
Hmm, nice question. So, everyone thinks that it's just me sharing stories and sharing my culture to the people. So, it happens to me very often that people ask me, tired of doing always the same things. But I never do the same things because the people I interact with are always different. So you need to adjust the tour according to what they want. So even the same tour will always be different according to the people that you have with you. So
Hmm.
I also love the fact that they share their stories with me. I've met people from all over the world. Some of my guests are very good friend of mine now, and I've heard stories from them that are still in my heart, in my memory. So they
Wow.
have given me so much, and this is making me very grateful. So this is what I love the most about my job. What I don't like is sometimes all the organization of a tour that doesn't depend on the guests, but maybe depends on the availability of the tickets, or if it's high season or low season, if the city is crowded or not crowded. It's complicated things. So
Hmm.
sometimes guests think that if things don't go smoothly, it's because of me. But sometimes it's not always because of me, but because there are things that we can't control and we can't fix,
Yeah.
including skip the line tickets. So most of the museums give the chance to buy skip the line. You can avoid the long lines at the entrance door. But
Hmm.
sometimes even skip the line tickets means that you have to wait for like 10, 15 minutes because maybe the museum that day is too crowded. And this is not my fault. I mean, I can't
Hmm.
control that. And I really don't like that part because sometimes it happens that people get upset because they said But we asked for skip the line tickets. Why are we in line? But the Uffizi Gallery, the Accademia Gallery are some of the most visited museums in the world. So
Yeah.
not only in Europe, but in the world. So it can happen that, I don't know, there are just more people than anyone expected, and we have to wait a little longer. So all that part
Mhm.
of the organization is something that I don't really like. And last thing, suggest to all of the people that are listening to come to Florence not only in summer because it's too hot
Yeah.
and you won't enjoy it. Everyone comes here in July and August, but springtime is awesome. Fall is awesome. You will enjoy the
Mhm.
city, less crowded, much more things to see and do. The temperature is nicer. So I also think it would be nicer if the people had the chance to travel all over the year and not only in summertime.
Yeah, I think that's a good tip for everyone. I know I try to avoid the peak seasons for a
Yeah.
lot of things because then you are going to stand in lines forever, whether you like it or
Yeah.
not. Um,
Yes. Yes. And you want to enjoy it, even if the city is
mhm.
beautiful and even if you meet the right people and they're going to show you the best parts of the city. When it's too crowded, you want to enjoy it anyway.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you kind of took one of my questions there, or answered one of them. But I'm also curious, why? What are a couple reasons that you would say someone should travel to Florence for?
Mm. Um, I think Florence, among all the other Italian cities, have fought very hard to maintain intact some of its old traditions and customs. So, Italy in general is very interesting as a country because it's very small, but everywhere you go, you can get to eat different food. People speak differently. We have different
Hmm.
accents, different dialects, and we have different customs. But Florence, and that was a surprise also for me when I moved to Florence from Naples, has always tried to keep intact these old traditions. So there are still things that the Florentine do after 300 years, 400 years, 600 years, and these are very incredible things that I think are worth to be discovered. We had just one of those few days ago because it was Easter time. And
Mm.
there is this very incredible tradition. This is just a quick story, but I don't want to reveal too much. You have to come to
Yeah.
Florence to discover more, which is the explosion of the cart. This is a tradition that takes place in Florence every year on Easter Sunday. It's just Florentine, so you won't find it in any other Italian city,
Hmm.
and has more than 300 years. So this is a very incredible event to know more about or even assist.
Yeah. Do you want to share more about that story or leave it for people to go there and find out?
Okay, I'll say just a very small version of the story.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this Sunday, it was just last week.
Hmm.
There is this huge cart packed with fireworks that starts a procession together with the people that are dressed with old costumes all around the city. They just go through the little streets, the main squares, until they get in front of the Duomo, the main cathedral of Florence. They
Hmm.
place the cart right in front of the entrance door of the church, and then the priest from the church lights the fire, and this fire lights kind of a mechanical rocket that has the shape of a bird, of a dove. This rocket,
Wow.
through a wire, goes all the way through the navy of the church, exits, hit the cards, and then there is a huge explosion. Then
Jeez.
the rocket has to go back to the altarpiece, and all the fireworks have to explode in order to be a very lucky year for the city. So
Huh.
you see, yeah, I
That's
know.
amazing.
I know this is a very, very old custom, and it's amazing to see it because you'll see all of the people dressed up with these old costumes, walking around the city, following the cart. So it's very awesome, and they are all waiting for the fireworks to explode. So it's incredible.
That sounds like for someone not from there, like a once in a lifetime experience to go see that.
It is. It was also for me when I moved to Florence because I had no idea something like that existed. So it was very incredible, even for me that I am Italian.
Yeah, wow. That's one of the things I love about traveling is finding out little things like that that's so unique to one specific area. Um,
True.
this is some, I mean, that's something I would never see in the US here.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, Italy is very incredible for that because everywhere you go, you will find something original and a particular custom, a particular tradition that is worth to be discovered.
hmm Yeah, yeah. There's so much history and so much tradition there. Um, I learned about that on your tour.
Yeah. Hope you
uh,
remember stuff.
yeah, it was a memorable time. So why should someone sign up for one of your tours?
Okay, so I think this is maybe related to what I told you before. I I am a traveler myself, so
Mhm.
I always try to give my guests the same type of experiences that I want to find when I travel. So no, I don't think everyone does that. Also because not everyone was as lucky as I was to travel that much. I have to thank my parents for that, who gave me the chance to travel on my own since I was 15 years old, and I did
Wow.
many experiences all over the world, in South Africa, in China, in Switzerland. And during that very young age really changes your life. So
hmm
the way I travel, I think helps me a lot to make my guests live incredible experiences also when they are here. And of course, as I told you before, all my tours can be 100%, as I like to say, be tailor made.
hmm
So you just tell me what you like, what your preferences are, and I will create the perfect itinerary and the perfect tour for you. So no tour will be the same.
Yeah, that's very cool. So with customizing the tours, are you reaching out to your guests like a week or two in advance and asking them those questions?
Yes, yes. Sometimes I even like to, because I don't only do artistic tours or food and wine tours, but I also do a lot of shopping tours, especially focused on craftsmanship, which is famous for local artisans. And sometimes people, actually, very often, people ask me um, that they want to buy local things like, I don't know,
hmm
leather or perfumes, which are some of the local products of Florence. So sometimes I like to prepare a paper with some questions where I ask my guests some questions about what they are expecting to find and what their preferences are. And according to their answer, I select the shops that I think are perfect for what they are looking for. Similar things I do with the museums or the food or anything else that I like to include in my tours, like today for the kids. So if you are traveling with kids, then the tour has to be different because kids need to be engaged, need to do fun
hmm
things in order to walk for 2 or 3 hours and
Yeah.
listen to a stranger talking to them. So yes, I talk a lot to my guests before they get here so that I can be prepared and I can give um, a perfect service to them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. How can people sign up for your tour?
So I have a website. So on my website, which is florencewhatelse.com, or I don't know if it's popular in your countries, but there is a very famous advertisement about coffee with George Clooney in Italy
Oh,
that
yes.
says Nespresso, what else?
Hmm.
That's how I got the idea. So Florence,
Oh,
what
okay.
else? And that's the name of my website and also the name of my socials, so Facebook and Instagram. So people can find me online on these channels. And I also like to post some videos on YouTube so that they can have a sneak peek of what they can find and what they can see here in Florence. So mostly through these channels. And then sometimes I'm lucky because some of my guests tell their friends about me, and so I can have new people because they talked about me, and they contact
Hmm.
me.
Yeah, okay. I'll have you send me all those links, and I'll put them in the description of the podcast,
Sure,
so
sure, of
everyone
course, of
can
course.
find them easily. But yeah, I mean, I like what you're doing. I think it's a great setup, and I definitely want to ask you more offline about, how you customize the tours. It's got my wheels turning a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it sounds like, in my opinion, you're the best guide in Florence. Is that right?
Should I be humble?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the best, that I can say it, but for sure I try my best to be the best.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that's all you can do, right?
Yes, that's all I can do. At least I'll try. That I can guarantee you.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Um, I guess I have a question about the cost of it. Is that something that you want to share, or something that, you know, to be private, I guess?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you. What was the question about?
Oh, sorry. I was wondering, in terms of cost, is it, really high cost, or is it pretty cheap and
Okay, so
reasonable?
the tours that I arrange are always private. So
Hmm.
this means that it's going to be just you and whoever is traveling with you.
Yeah.
So this means that the costs are a bit higher than group tours, because when you
Hmm.
travel with a big group, you can share all the costs. So I think it kind
Yeah.
of depends on the amount of people uh, are traveling with you, because
Hmm.
my costs are fixed. So I always give the cost according to the time that I spend during the tour. So if it's 2 hours tour,
Okay.
3 hours tour, or if it's a full day tour, because sometimes they ask me to be with them for 6 or 7 hours. But
Wow.
tours can start from €100 up to
Hmm.
300, depending on the amount we're going to spend together and the amount of activities we're going to do together.
Hmm. Yeah, which, I'll tell all the listeners, that is a very reasonable price for what you're getting.
Okay. Yeah.
Getting the
I mean,
best
I
guide in
think it
Florence.
depends. I also think depends from, I think it's very personal, because maybe
Hmm.
someone thinks that they expect to spend like 20, €30 per person. But the problem is that this is possible when you do group tours. But this means that the
Yeah.
tour cannot be personalized according to
Hmm.
your request, and you will be with people that you don't know. But if you book directly through, then it's going to be private. It's going to be just you. You can tell me what you like, and I can adjust it according to your preferences. So this means that it's a bit more expensive, but you're also getting a much more special service.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely agree with that. Um, I guess any other things you want to share about Florence, or being a tour guide, or any fun stories you want to share?
I mean, besides telling you about the fun facts of Florence, I think the important thing is that I want to share with you is just an advice. that I want to give
Hmm.
you. Okay. As I told you before, Italy is a small country, but wherever you go, you have the chance to eat and experience something different. Each place in Italy has a particular food, and I really, really suggest you to discover what the local foods of the city you're visiting are. Florence is not that famous for pizza, because everyone wants to eat pizza when they're here,
Yeah.
but is much more famous for the Florentine steak or the schiacciata, which is a type of focaccia that we filled up with different products like cheeses, vegetables, or even
Hmm.
prosciutto or any other product. So, what I really suggest to do, and what I really want to share with you, since I care a lot about the food as a 100% Italian, is when you travel, try to find out what the local food and the local products are, because you're going to have a much better experience. And that is what locals would do. They will
Yeah.
always try the local food of the area that they're visiting. So, this is very important.
Hmm. 100% agree with that. And I think, you're getting the full experience by trying the food and local food and drinks too.
Yes, I mean, for me, this is very important, not only because I specialize also in food and wine tours, but because I am a foodie myself. And whenever I travel, I try to arrange my tours, including all the food stops that I can't miss. So I
Mhm.
think it will give you a better experience, because food, especially for Italians, is very important in
Mhm.
our culture. So to really understand the culture and the place that you're visiting, I always like to say that you have to learn the way you have to eat as locals do to really understand them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Cool. Did you have fun facts that you wanted to share?
Okay, so there is a very interesting story about Florence, which is maybe you have already heard about it, which is about the house towers. Now, San Gimignano, which is the city that you visited, is
Hmm.
maybe one of the most famous ones in Tuscany for house towers, but there are many house towers also in Florence. The house towers were the houses of rich families. Rich families were living in house towers because the higher, the safer. So that's how they
Hmm.
could protect themselves. But the problem is that already in the Middle Age, Florence was full of rich people. It was already a very rich city, a city full of bankers, of merchants. So the economical life, the social life of the city was very vibrant. And Florentine people really liked competition. So they started a competition. Who had the highest tower? So many towers were built in the city until the government of Florence decided that this tower couldn't be taller than the bell tower of the cathedral, symbol of religion, and the
Hmm.
tower of Palazzo Vecchio, symbol of politics. This is why many towers got destroyed or even chopped off to make them shorter. But there's still one tower that is considered one of the highest in the city, that is called the Chestnut Tower. But to understand why the name is Chestnut Tower, you need to come to Florence. I have already told you.
Yeah, I know. I'm intrigued.
This means you have to come back. I don't know if I told you this story when you were here.
I don't think so. I don't remember
Ah,
that
you see, there's always more to discover.
one. Oh, definitely. I feel like every time you visit, there's something new you learn or see, or even maybe even just experience it differently based on you know, as your
True.
life has changed over the years too.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Actually, I'm curious, has that happened for you over the 8 years? Have you noticed different things or kind of,
Of
enjoyed the city
course.
differently?
It happens to me. No, I can't say every day, but very often that I discover new things and that I start including these new things I discover or new stories that I discover in my tours. because Florence is a surprise for me as well. It's a
Mhm.
tiny city, especially if you compared it to Rome or Naples or Milan, but every corner of the city has something to tell us. And I am still discovering things myself. So definitely, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Um, awesome. Well, anything else you want to share, Martina?
No, I think I told you everything important. If you have some questions, you can also have a look at the website. There are also nice tips that I like to give to my guests. So not only
Mhm.
you can find the tours that I arrange, but you can also find a blog where I talk about some of the things that are interesting in the city or some of the customs. So I don't really think there's something more. Yes, I think I told you everything important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I know I've really enjoyed your content, your blog, and the different posts that you've put on social media as well. So I
Thanks.
definitely encourage everyone to go check that out. And just remind everyone, where can they find you?
Okay, so website is florencewhatelse.com, and then you can find me on Instagram at Florence What Else, and on Facebook also at Florence What Else, and on
Okay,
YouTube at Martina Florence What Else.
perfect. Well, I will definitely go subscribe to you on YouTube now too.
Yes, you will find some fun videos. There will
Yeah,
be some more soon. This was a busy week, but I will post something new soon.
yeah, perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Um, yeah, well, thanks again, Martina. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today. I know I really enjoyed the conversation and definitely have a lot better insight into what it's like being a tour guide in Italy.
Yeah.
And I hope that all the listeners got something out of it as well. I know for me, next time I'm in Florence, I will most definitely take one of your tours. Um, because I gotta hear the rest of that Chestnut Tower story.
Yes, now I made you curious.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go
Thank you
take a
so
flight
much for
tonight.
inviting me in your podcast. It was very nice for me to talk to you again and to share some of my experience and some of my stories with you.
Yeah, I loved it, and I know the listeners will as well. So thanks again, and everyone who's listening, go to Florence and take Martina's tours. You definitely won't regret it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
awesome. Yep, have a good one. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Hey everybody, Kyle here. If you enjoyed today's show and want more, you can always check out every episode on Spotify and Anchor. And now you can also listen on YouTube. Links are in the description below. If you want to see my travel pictures as well as travel pictures from guests on the show, you can check them out on Instagram. The page is called Our Travel Experiences Podcast. And if you want to share your own pictures on the Instagram page and or be a guest on the podcast, you can message me via that Instagram page or email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com. I would love to see your pictures and hear about your travel experiences. And if that isn't enough for you, make sure to check out my new show from Around the World Fridays. Every Friday, I'm taking 5 to 10 minutes to discuss one specific travel topic, whether that be questions I get from listeners, sharing some souvenirs that I've bought over the years, or discussing one particular city or country that I've been to, and so much more. You'll be able to listen to that via Spotify and Anchor as well, and be able to see the video version, which I'm really excited about, on YouTube. So check it out. I promise you won't be disappointed. And thanks again for listening, and I will see you around the world soon.